make your points and we'll move forward. The audience should also refrain from arguing, clapping, etc. Everyone, please show respect to all who speak, whether you agree with them or not. And those are the rules for tonight. So if you haven't signed up and you wish to speak, please go back and sign up back there. Right now, Mike, if we could get the sheet that's been signed up so far. And if you haven't spoken and something makes you really want to go speak, just go to the back. Police chief is back there. He'll sign you up.
And I think we should mention too that it does for some reason get out of hand, that it will be completely dismissed.
Yeah, Mike Vendetti. Okay, so first up is Mike Vendetti.
I'm Mike Vendetti. I live at 501 West Main in Florence. And my first point is that there's a difference in the sales tax on retail marijuana as opposed to the tax that is charged a regular retail store. The state will send back 1.5% of the, well actually it's 15% of the 10% sales tax they collect on marijuana. This gets very complicated, but what that means is that Florence now has a 2.5% effective sales tax rate. So when you go into Larry's store and buy a chair, they pay 2.5% sales tax back to the city. If they go into a retail marijuana shop and spend $100, they're going to pay $4 in sales taxes. I don't know if my math is right, but they pay 4% in sales tax. So the city is letting, if you don't allow retail marijuana stores in the city, that means that a income stream is going typically down the stream. My next point is I've heard that, now this is an opinion, the last one was a fact, this is an opinion, that retail marijuana stores will attack undesirables. I don't believe that's correct, because a recreational marijuana store is going to attract the guy that smoked pot with you in college. The guy he's somebody who is a professional and no longer wants to break the law and buy marijuana from his contact, which is illegal. I don't believe that it's going to have a bunch of dopers hanging around here, because there's a 2-to-1 price differential, based last survey I took, between the price of recreational marijuana and, I'll call it, street weed. So I think those are two things you really need to consider, is that we will lose an income stream and that it is not going to attract riffraff. Thank you very much.
Jackie Chester.
I'm Jackie Chester. I live at 106 High Meadows Terrace here in Florence. I want to commend the council for what I believe is making the right decision, and hopefully they will continue the second reading the same way. I started real estate in 1981 in Colorado Springs, moved down here in 95, and I've worked with a lot of families that are moving from the bigger cities, coming down to the smaller family-friendly type communities. And I feel that if you didn't vote the way you did, that would detract a lot of other families from coming, especially as we're working closely on bringing some jobs to the area. And I just think that for the sales tax that you will lose, I think you will gain it more with property taxes, both for businesses, for commercial, and for residential. And that there'll be more people shopping here and just coming here and feeling it. It's a friendly place. So that's my opinion.
Jay LeBlanc.
Hello, I'm Jay LeBlanc, and I'm just a concerned citizen, and I am totally against any legalization of marijuana or use in or around this community. And because I believe that it leads to bigger and better things, and if you want to legalize marijuana, then let's have some heroin up in here, and I knew I'd get you on that. Don't get ahead of me on this one. And I am totally against this, and I don't want my kids seeing this stuff. I don't want it to be brought in this community and any further drugs. And contrary to further testimony, I believe it does lead to pilfering. People will steal from you. They will rape your children and your yard of any precious metals, and they'll steal your cars in order to get money to buy this commodity. And I do not see any benefit to this as tax dollars, because I think that ultimately on down the line it costs more to pay for people's rehabilitations in order to fund their habit in the interim. And I know Martinez over there is laughing and stuff earlier. I drive by him every day, and he knows who I am. He's the Dolphin guy, and I'm the Bronco. No, I'm the Bronco guy. Trust me, I got the Bronco too up in here. That's just between me and him. But and quite frankly, I say hell no. Thank you.
Teresa Villagrán. Bob, it's not you yet. Bob, it's not you yet. It's not you next.
You're next, have a seat. Oh, well,
I know I'm small, you can't see me. Hello, my name is Teresa Villagrán, and I'm not only a resident here, citizen of Florence, but I'm also the CCOM drug screening coordinator that works the drug-free workplace program for Centura, and I'm part of the city's random program manager, third-party administrator, so I'm actually the person that runs all your drug screens and gives your results to you. And I'm an advocate for all employers as well as a citizen that I do not agree with this. All of our employers pay so much money to try to be a drug-free workplace program, and anytime an employee wants to get hired on the city, they have to pass a drug screen. Anytime you have an employee that gets injured on the job, you pay not only workman's comp for that injury and the medical part of that injury, but you also have to pay for the drug screen and breath alcohol for that. And also, if you get a positive drug screen, you actually get a cut in half of their state pay on whatever their wages are. That's per the state of Colorado. So for me, it's kind of you want to have it here in the city town limits, but yet we are a drug-free workplace program as part of the city. For me, I do a lot of education with employers as well as community people, and there are a lot of people for and against, but we're working for, if you were to get a job anywhere within our community, whether it be Florence, Canyon, Pueblo, that promote good retirement, 401ks, anything like that, you have to pass a drug screen. And that's very important to our community, to our young kids in this community that we're trying to give education. And I just think that it's very important not to be able to have that in our community. And I can honestly say, anytime I go out and do education about recreational marijuana, medical marijuana, I can honestly say Florence is the only town in Colorado in our vicinity that does not have any of that in our town. And I give kudos to you guys at this point for not having that here, because Penrose has it, Pueblo has it, Pueblo West has 8 shops right now. Honestly, if they want to have it, they can go 5 miles down the road. So that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Good job.
Petzold, 628 East Second Street, and I won't beat a dead horse, you know how I feel about this. But the thing of it is that I want to bring to the forefront of your thinking tonight, Palmer Lake City Council, as well as the residents, said no to marijuana. Manitou Springs right now, the City Council voted yes. The people have got enough signatures to put it on the ballot come November to kick it out of town. I mean, it's no good. It's just that simple. It's problems that we don't need, and if it costs one young person's life, how can you put a price on that? So, I think God's given you a second chance to do what's right. Say no to marijuana. Thank you.
Okay, Becky Dillier.
Hi, my name is Becky Dallier. I live at 212 North McCandless here in Florence. I also own Boomer's Emporium over in Canyon City, which is a smoke shop. I sell pipes, bongs, that sort of thing. We've been open for about 4 years. The vast majority of demographics that comes into my store is between the ages of 25 and 65. I do require that you be 18 at least to come in my store, but I don't sell marijuana because nobody can get a license for it yet. But in my experience, the vast majority of the people that I deal with, and in talking with the folks at the retail sales in Pueblo West, they found the same. The vast majority are older professionals, not necessarily in the workforce anymore. A lot of them are not. But my biggest point is that 51%, correct me if I'm wrong, Dory, but that's where I got that number from was last year, is that 51% of the residents in Florence voted in favor of Amendment 64. And Amendment 64, in its entirety, talks not only about retail sales of marijuana, it talks about hemp cultivation, testing for the different facilities, the medicinal, the medical marijuana, the clothing, that sort of thing, the manufacturing of the hemp products. 51% of the voters here in Florence, voted in favor of legalizing marijuana. And as a city council, I would assume that you do what the state voters ask you to do. Those people who vote, you follow through on what they've asked you to do. My belief is that 51% of the people in Florence that took the time to go out and vote, voted in favor of it. It is a heavy burden put on you because it is a very controversial, unknown industry. But 51% took the time to go out and vote in favor of it. My argument is that you have an obligation to uphold the way that the people of Florence voted. Whether that's retail marijuana, I don't know. But I think to put a moratorium on marijuana in its entirety is not what the voters said that they wanted. It would be completely going against what the people, the majority of the citizens of Florence that took the time to vote, voted for. And I don't think it's right to go back out and re-poll because then you stand a chance of not being able to talk to everybody. I am very much in favor of the industry and wish you all good luck on voting this issue. But I hope you vote in favor. Thanks.
Okay, Richard Upton.
Richard Upton, 401 Tanner. I don't think I can add too much from what has already been said. I made some comments at the last meeting about checking in with areas that have had retail marijuana and the enforcement costs and so on. But anyway, obviously I'm not in favor of it because of the community that we have, nice and quiet and family-oriented, so thank you.
Okay, Fred Warner.
Members of the Florence Council, my name is Fred Warner. I live in the Florence Fire Protection District in Penrose. And I'm a 29-year veteran of the United States Air Force. And I watched a lot of young people's careers go right down the tubes over drug testing. Now, yes, they had a choice, and they made a choice, and they lived with the consequences. You have a choice to make as well. And you will have the consequences on your conscience, depending on how you vote. And it will be between you and God one day. I have had a security clearance for over 30 years, without any lapse at all, mainly because I chose not to partake in marijuana. I don't think it's a great idea. Actually, I think it's a bad idea. We've raised our children to be drug-free, to say no to drugs, to stay away from drugs, and then we're going to welcome it into our community. What message are we sending our kids when we do that? Yes, we've had votes on marijuana, and they've passed by slim margins. But here's a number to think about. With the 47,000 people in Fremont County, 27,000 are registered voters. Folks, there are 20,000 people not being heard on the ballots. That's where representative government comes in. That's where councilmen have a vital interest in what's going on in the community. You know the people in your district. You know the people you represent. You've grown up with most of them. You've watched their kids grow up. How many of the 20,000 people who are not registered voters in Fremont County live in Florence? How many are not heard on the ballots? Yes, it's also by their choice. But it's also by our choice in promoting representative government to encourage those people to get out and vote. Give them a reason to vote. Give them a reason to vote. Say no to marijuana. Thank you.
Okay, this is the last person who signed up, Jay Park.
Hello, everybody. I think there have been pretty good points made on both sides. I think it's not a matter of right and wrong, because I think the state of Colorado has already passed the fact that it's decriminalized now for marijuana. Can I get you to state your name and address first?
Jay Park, 118 West Front Street, Florence.
Thank you.
And like anything or any tool that can be not handled correctly, guns is a good one. Just because you have a gun, that's not a bad thing necessarily. It's the people that use them improperly. Same thing with marijuana. Yeah, you're going to have people not use it properly. And there's points in the law that can be addressed. They could take them to jail. Smoking marijuana in a public place, near a school, what have you, trying to sell it on the street, because that's still illegal. This is just a decriminalized approach to it. They have people in the state prison here that have been sent from other states where it was against the law, where they're spending 10 years in prison, but yet in Colorado it's legal. So it's kind of a hypocritical type of thing to a certain point, that people are put in jail, but yet where they're in jail at, it's legal. I think it's important that maybe everybody be heard, but sometimes people don't want to be heard. I was a spokesperson for a union in California for several years, and that's when drug testing first took place. And a lot of times, I mean, it has its purposes, but a lot of times it's a witch hunt type of a thing. They're looking for marijuana or drugs, but yet you could come in perfectly drunk and that would show on the test, but that was okay. But they wanted to penalize people that use marijuana. But at the time, marijuana was an illegal drug also. But they were asked, what happens if somebody fails the test? They made hydraulic pumps and valves for aircraft. So they're part of the FAA drug testing program. So what happens if somebody fails the test? Well, nothing. So you don't recall the stuff that they made? Oh, no. Well, what's the purpose of your testing then? Not only that, if I could come in completely drunk, according to your guidelines of this testing, that's okay and it would pass. So where's the problem here? You know, there's more of a problem than just illegal drugs. So I thank you very much. I'm out of time.
Stephanie Luck.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Luck. I live at 959 M Street in Penrose. I too am in your school and fire district. From what I've heard tonight, there are three arguments that have been put forth to you for why you should vote in favor of allowing recreational marijuana within the city limits. And I'd like to just deconstruct those a bit and explain to you why, in fact, you should be voting against it. The first argument that you heard tonight was related to revenue streams, that by allowing for recreational marijuana, you'd increase your tax base here and thereby have more money to provide the various services you hope to provide. Now, we don't have the research at present to suggest one way or the other how marijuana will actually bring out. We have a lot of informed decisions we can make based off of other information, but as for facts and figures, because it is so new, we only have a few months worth of this experiment that we've been trying. We don't have the concrete data that maybe you're used to looking at. But what I'd like to do is compare what we know about alcohol and tobacco to the marijuana situation. On page 19 of a packet that I had distributed to you last week, it notes that tobacco costs society $200 billion annually. That's in terms of crime or social costs, rehabilitation, family breakdown, etc. But the revenue that is brought in is only $25 billion. That's a huge disparity. And the same goes for tobacco. I'm sorry, that was tobacco, but the same goes for alcohol, which brings in $185 billion worth of costs, but only $14 billion worth of revenue. I submit to you that that same disparity will exist with marijuana. So the amount of revenue that you may see will be offset hugely by the amount of costs that it is associated with. The second argument that you heard tonight was with respect to the voters' decision. Now, I don't know about your conversations, but the conversations I've had with people are filled with buyer's remorse. Many people thought that they were voting just so that people would not be criminalized for having marijuana in the same degree that they had it before, so that we wouldn't have prisons overcrowded, etc. What they lacked an understanding of was the huge commercialization of marijuana. And in fact, many of them did not want to see that, and if they were given a chance to vote again, they would vote against it. I should also note, as to the last gentleman's statements about the prison system, less than 5% of our prisoners are actually there solely for the purpose of having marijuana. The majority of them, yes, they do have a marijuana-related charge, but often that is coupled with other forms of theft, assault, murder, that sort of a thing. The third argument that we heard tonight was with respect to, I'm forgetting myself. I apologize, but I will summarize with this last point. We're not the first state to legalize this. In the 1970s, Alaska also legalized it, and they went back in the 1990s as a result of the problems that they saw that they could not overcome. They used 2 decades to try to overcome it and were unsuccessful. And I would just say to you that you should follow Arvada and Golden and Littleton and others and do the same. Thank you.
Okay, that's our last speaker.
That was our last speaker.
Did I speak? I didn't sign up. Did I speak?
Sign
I still
up.
have another phone.
Got to have, huh? You can talk, Brad. I wouldn't drop the cane on you.
Irene Ryglander.
I'm Irene Rylander. My husband and I, Bob, we lived in Canyon City on Harrison, 10th and Harrison.
I need your address and that.
Okay, I'll be sure and put that there. I am here to support you in keeping the stand that you took originally, because it's like Stephanie said, and like different people have said, there is just so much negative to do with this that it so outweighs the positive. And we owe it to our children. And that's it. Thank you.
There might be other visitors wanting to discuss something else.
Yeah, that's true.
You got a half hour?
Is there any other visitors that want to discuss something besides marijuana and the grass? If there is, please come forward. No? Good deal. We're moving on. Old business. Second reading ordinance 13-2014, establishing permanent moratorium on all marijuana facilities in the city of Florence.
Mr. Mayor, could I
Sure.
address the
Jack?
council briefly?
Yes.
This looks a little different from the ordinance that you voted on first reading, but actually it's not. All I did was codify it in the Florence Municipal Code in a new chapter. What it represents, actually what it is simply a codification of what you did pass as amended on first reading. The ordinance you had before you, as I know, was a permanent moratorium on grow operations. What you voted on was a form of that ordinance where a council member, Mel, had added the other 3 marijuana establishments to it. And I think because now what we've done is codify it in a new chapter, we probably ought to read it. And that'll also benefit, I think, the public who is here, who perhaps was not here for first reading. So that's why it may look a little bit different from what you had the first time around, but in substance, it's not.
I thought you meant that it looks a little different since you last saw us.
Well, yeah, the word through the grapevine was significantly different from what I had proposed, but that's fine. Any ordinance on first reading is subject to amendment. That's, my understanding, that's what happened in my absence. So can we read it, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, she's reading it now.
Ordinance 13-2014, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Florence establishing a permanent moratorium on the licensing and operation of all marijuana facilities, including retail marijuana stores, marijuana product manufacturing facilities, marijuana testing facilities, and marijuana cultivation facilities in the City of Florence. Whereas by virtue of state law, including but not limited to sections 3115-401 and 3123-301 of the Colorado Revised Statutes, the City of Florence has broad authority to exercise its police powers to promote and protect the health, safety, and welfare of the community and its citizens. And whereas pursuant to CRS 3123-301, such police powers include the power to regulate the location and use of land within the community for trade, industry, or other purposes. And whereas planning, land use, and general business regulations are well established as purely matters of local concern. And whereas the city possesses the power and the authority to impose a permanent ban on the acceptance and processing of applications for marijuana facilities, including retail marijuana stores, marijuana product manufacturing facilities, marijuana product testing facilities, and marijuana cultivation facilities, to be in the best interest of the health, safety, and welfare of the community and its citizens. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Florence as follows. A new chapter 5.04 of the Florence Municipal Code is created as follows. Chapter 5.40, all retail marijuana establishments prohibited. Section 540.010, permanent moratorium on marijuana establishments. The City of Florence hereby imposes a permanent moratorium on the acceptance, processing, and approval of all applications for any permit or license or any other application pertaining to marijuana establishments, including retail marijuana shops, marijuana product manufacturing facilities, marijuana testing facilities, and marijuana cultivation facilities, as those terms are defined at CRS 1243-4-103 and Section 16, Article 18 of the state constitution. 54020 emergency clause. The City Council hereby finds and determines and declares that this ordinance is promulgated pursuant to the city's general police power and that this ordinance is necessary for the immediate preservation of the public health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the city.
One change when I drafted this, if you would look back up in the heading 5.40.010, permanent moratorium on marijuana, it reads facilities, it should read establishments. The state statute refers to all four types of retail facilities as establishments. So that would mirror then the actual section down below, 5.40.010, permanent moratorium on marijuana establishments. They need to mirror one another.
So you want facilities out?
I want establishments to replace the word facilities in the heading. Any questions of me?
Yes, Mr. Frederickson, does this include medical and club when we say all facilities? Or does the previous...
This doesn't touch medical. There's a permanent moratorium on medical marijuana at Chapter 5.38 of the Florence Municipal Code.
So we would need to amend and add that it's already taken care of?
Yeah, medical marijuana is not allowed in the city of Florence.
And how about club? I've noticed other municipalities within the state has also put that into, would that be something we put into regulation, or would that have to be ordinance?
You might want to look at that. There's a general sense that clubs, to the extent they're carried on indoors, violates the Clean Indoor Air Act, which is a state statute. To the extent they're carried on outdoors, this ordinance does not address that particular problem or situation.
But it is establishment too.
Well, no, the four establishments defined in statute and in the state constitution are retail shops, manufacturing facilities, grow facilities, and testing facilities. And that's all this ordinance does, is ban those. Other questions for me?
This time?
Okay.
Okay, we need to go.
I would like to make a motion
to approve ordinance number 13-2014, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Florence establishing a permanent moratorium on the licensing and operation of all marijuana facilities, including retail marijuana stores, marijuana product manufacturing facilities or establishments.
That would be facilities.
Marijuana tasting facilities, and marijuana cultivation facilities in the City of Florence.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Roll call.
Hiltingstrude?
Aye.
Edwards?
Aye.
Villagrana?
Aye.
Integer?
No.
Martinez?
Aye.
Baker?
No.
Mayor Orr?
No.
4-3.
No marijuana in Florence.
As that was corrected, isn't that the first reading now?
No, this was the second reading.
Right, but you said there were corrections made to that.
Any ordinance can be amended. This was amended on first reading. The amendments on second reading were merely technical in nature and read as such.
May I-
Basically the first reading.
No, it was second reading on the first reading as amended.
May I add something? May?
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor. Permanent doesn't mean that we cannot come back to it in a year or 2 years when everything will be a little bit more clear about how it works in other municipalities or cities, towns. So it doesn't mean that it's this is it. It's not that sentence. So right now we are putting permanent moratorium on it, but we can come back to it later on. We just not setting up the date when we have to come back to it. That's all.
Okay. Let's move on. Public hearing and special event liquor license for the City of Florence. Dory?
The Florence Chamber of Commerce had asked the council if they would consider obtaining a special event permit for the music in the park Wednesdays for the month of August. And council agreed that they could do that. This is the application, and on the form of the application, it states the 4 dates, August 6th, August 13th, August 20th, and August 27th, where the Chamber of Commerce, who sponsors Music in the Park, would be allowed to sell alcoholic beverages in a designated area of Pioneer Park on Wednesday nights.
Okay. Paul?
The only question I have that I don't see is this area that is designated military patrol or
Have to be fenced.
seem to that it does not leave that particular area.
It is fenced and it has one entrance where you have to go in and get either, is it a bracelet? I
It's
think
an
it's a
armband.
bracelet. If you leave, and you have to have that armband to get in and buy alcohol. And it has to be a designated fenced area. And that's what the diagram shows, the area that they intend to serve in, which includes the pavilion.
This be, when we have music at the park every Wednesday?
Yeah, just in August. And the chamber has paid the permit fees.
And this is just for one time?
This is for four weeks. This permit is for 4 different occasions.
August 6th, August 13th, August 20th, and August 27th. Okay.
I'll make the motion that
We're in public hearing at the moment.
And is there anyone here from the chamber that'd like to speak on this behalf?
Sure.
There he is.
Oh, no. Go home.
Tell him he has 3 minutes.
Go home. You got 2 minutes.
I want a green card, please, Mike.
Yeah, I hear you. Speak up.
I need a green card to start.
First question. First question?
Now, would you like to explain to us what's going to be happening? Is this for the music in the park or whatever it is?
It is for music in the park. Like I'd heard explained, it will be cordoned off with one entrance. There will be security there on site. There will be actually people that are certified as far as the state laws go to sell the liquor, to make sure that everybody's ID'd and make sure they're not inebriated. And it's just, we're selling to consenting adults. We really don't feel that 2 hours is enough to, especially by the time they get through standing in line, they're probably not going to have time but for a couple drinks.
Okay.
Mayor?
Yes.
Why did you choose to include pavilion in it? Because it will look like the concert is fenced in and you're not allowed to go in.
I believe it's going to be fenced onto the side of the...
Because it shows that the pavilion is included in it.
I guess I haven't seen what you're looking at.
There it is, pretty large. And I think people on the grass won't be able to see behind the orange fence.
It's not very.
It's a low.
It's very
low. They'll be able to see over it. Alan, where are they going to be serving at?
My understanding was that the serving line was there at the edge of the pavilion. That the pavilion is
On the left side?
yes, on the west side.
I think that's what
The pavilion would be open to the public, but to get the drinks, you need to go into the west side there.
I think it should be.
And what are you exactly going to be serving?
I believe everybody intended on serving beer and wine.
And they will have to consume it within the fenced-in area? Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
No martinis? Okay, any other questions? No? Okay, is there any other discussion on this matter? Do you have any questions for us or anything? Okay.
Please and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Come up to the podium and state your name.
Now you get amended.
Address, Mel Jr.
Hello, this is Big J LeBlanc from Canyon City again, just concerned citizen, as you all well know by now. And I would like to say that I've been to this event before in the past, and I don't think that a couple of beers with somebody at the park would affect anything. In fact, it might even create some revenue with responsible people, as opposed to heroin and cocaine and marijuana use, like what was proposed earlier. And I vote hell yes on this too, as opposed to no before. But so tonight it's bottoms up.
Double shot on that. Man, I'm really got weed on this one.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, let's get a motion on this.
Can I?
Yes.
Should we, yeah.
Are we done with public hearing?
Are you done with her?
Let's close the public hearing, Dan, and go into discussion.
Close public hearing.
Okay. Let's close for the public hearing and we'll discuss between council.
I would be okay with the serving beer over there, but I think it should be corrected on our diagram that the pavilion won't be fenced in. That it will be right next to it, but not within the pavilion. Can
Will
we
the
correct
pavilion
it?
be
Yes,
part-
it shows
So you can go and get alcohol and then take it into the pavilion, or I'm good. I thought.
I measured what Jennifer had me measure, was this area. The thinking during the measurement was that if people wanted to sit under the cover of the pavilion with the alcoholic drink, then they could still take it in. The fence is mesh and it's 4 foot tall. So people can still see through the fencing, and it doesn't mean you can't go into this area it doesn't mean that you cannot go into this area if you aren't drinking. So if you're not consuming alcohol, you can still go into the fenced area, and kids can still go into the fenced area, but they'll get a mark on their hands to ensure that they're not consuming alcohol beverages.
Okay, that was my concern, because I was, if kids want to dance right next to the stage.
Right, and that's kind of the
still
idea
good.
too. So if you are consuming alcohol, you can still go and dance without having to walk out of a security gate and then back into. So just a common area for everybody.
Okay. Paul?
Mayor, and Alan, Mike, you guys might be able to answer this for me. I am sure that you're gonna have someone checking for the IDs for egg. And is that gonna be the only person at the gate?
No, I believe we're gonna have multiple security there.
Okay, you answered my question, thank you.
What'll happen when they come at the gate, that's when they get bracelets. However, there's also the recognition that, well, I'm not part of the event, the liquor license is in my name, so I'm gonna be watching it very closely. So there will be others watching it, there'll probably even be me watching it, seeing how my name's on the event, to make sure that they're not, you know.
So maybe ID should be checked twice, actually, like at the gate, and they get the bracelet,
Well,
the
if
one, the
somebody looks
drinking ones?
questionable at all, I think they get ID'd a second time. Because, I mean, even though those things are supposedly foolproof, you can't slip them off.
I mean,
We're gonna be watching it.
I mean, not everybody has to have a bracelet, only the ones that who wants to drink.
No, only the ones who want to drink.
Okay, all right.
And they can't get drinks unless they have a bracelet, but even there,
You can still double
if
check.
somebody looks questionable, they're gonna check it again.
Is that all the comments? Okay.
Then I would make a motion that the application for a special events permit over the period of 4 weeks be granted that alcohol can be served at Pioneer Park at 120 East 4th Street, Lawrence, Colorado.
Second. We have a first, second, roll call, please.
Filigrana.
Aye.
Baker.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Philippines-Root.
Aye.
Edwards.
Aye.
Eniger. Aye. Mayor Orr.
Aye.
7-0.
Okay, on the new business, task order number 4, Drexel and Barrel and Company for inspection service for Dry Creek Flood Control Dam Reconstruction Project. Dory?
In February, council approved a task order number 4 for Drexel Barrel for the Dry Creek Flood Control Project, which is a reconstruction of the flood control dam on the west side of Florence. Very important with our FEMA regulations and all of that be rebuilt. And it's being rebuilt by state standards now because of all the problems with breaking dams and stuff during flooding. So the project is ready to go. The original task order was approved February 3rd by City Council in the amount of $22,000. It's being redone because the state has since reviewed the plans, put additional stipulations on the reconstruction of it, and Drexel Barrel will be able to inspect and make sure that it's being built by those state specs. We feel it's very important because if we don't, we start over and the project will just cost more. So this is the task order in the amount of $30,796.
Dory, is that on top of the amount of the $22,000?
No, this is new. The total is $30,000 now. The $8,000 more for the stuff that the state has asked for. And that project goes out to bid. It's being advertised now. So they'll have a pre-bid meeting on July 23rd.
Then I would make a motion that Drexel Barrel and Company, task order number 4, we accept the proposal for Dry Creek Flood Control Dam inspection and reporting services for the amount not to exceed $30,796.
Second.